Um, but I figured tonight we kind of just continued the conversation from the Sunday call. If you guys didn't listen to the Sunday call, Christy kind of did a, like, I forget exactly what she called it, but like a high level overview of her metabolism masterclass and talking about some of the things that we can do to kind of light our metabolism up. So she uses the analogy that like our metabolism is like a fire, right? So she said some of us who have chronically dieted, and that was me, for a long time, you're constantly sending that signal to your body that you're just diminishing the fire, because eat less and less food. Your body says, oh, okay, well, we're going to eat less and less food. Michelle said, I'm having a hard time hearing, my internet sucks. Can you guys hear me? Okay. But she was saying that, like, from eating little and little, you're basically sending the signal to your body that like it doesn't have to put out much energy. So its fire is very like dim and very, itty bitty. So then when we go to try and like lose weight by pulling calories, maybe adding in more exercise, like, and we're not seeing the results that we want, it's because our fire has been dimmed so faint. So one of the things that I thought we could talk about that Christy did touch on was talking about how you can actually use strength training to fuel that fire. So one, like strength training, usually one of the goals is to build muscle, get stronger. And muscle you can kind of think as like that wood on, oh my God, hold on. The cat is chewing plants. Get out. Sorry guys, I don't know if they're poisonous to her, so, and like she won't stop. So all right, what was I saying? That was totally a distraction. The strength training, how it can like help fuel your metabolism. So you can think of muscle as like tissue that requires a lot of energy. So as you are trying to build muscle needs a lot of energy. So if you have a big muscular body, like she was talking about The Rock, his body needs a lot of energy, because muscle, to be able to keep it, we need to be able to fuel it. So by eating enough protein, by fueling our body, by sending the signal with strength training, that's kind of how you keep and build muscle. And because muscle requires more energy, aka food, to keep it, it kind of sets your baseline of your fire to be higher. So let's say if you have a 150-pound person, one was maybe like 30-40% body fat, and the other one might be like 20% body fat with a lot more muscle. This person's fire is probably going to be stronger because they have more muscle. They're able to burn more calories. Their fire is like revving because that muscle is using all that energy that they're eating. They're probably able to eat more and be able to either like maintain their weight or lose weight at like a higher calorie mark. So I've experienced this firsthand, because I have done a reverse more than once. I've done multiple cuts. And I will say each time that I've focused on building muscle in my reverse, when I've gone to go on a calorie deficit or pulling calories a little bit down to be able to lose body fat, it's actually made the process a lot easier. So when I like first started trying to like lose weight, it was like where I really kind of just first started to strength train. And I lost the weight and my body definitely looked different. But as I've strength trained over the years, I've really fueled that fire because I've put on a lot of muscle mass. Julie knows, but like I geek out on like nerdy stuff, and I've gotten the body scan that Christy's mentioned. I can't remember what it's called, but like where it tests your muscle mass, and like being able to test that and then go back and test it again a year later, see how much muscle you've put on. it's so cool to see that, oh, okay, I've put on muscle. And then when I go into, a calorie deficit or pulling food, that my body responds a lot quicker because that muscle's using a lot of that energy. But that's one of the benefits of strength training if you are trying to fuel that metabolism. Now, one of my favorite things to do, most of you know, I think, that I'm one of the people, like one of the specialty coaches that does the metabolism reviews, is pair strength training with a reverse diet. So I know some of you are on a reverse diet. Some of you are focusing on fueling your bodies more with food, and pairing it with strength training is an awesome way to do it, because you're fueling that muscle growth. So your body's using those calories where it's like you're sending the signal, hey, we're going to go strength train. It's going to go use those calories to help you build muscle, which is ultimately going to help you fuel that fire as you're going through this process to really kind of get that fire built up and burning. So does that make sense? I feel like I rambled a little bit. Sometimes I get going and I'm like, oh man, I too much.
It makes sense. And even if you ramble a little bit, I think it's one of those things that has to be reinforced over and over and over again, because it's too easy for everything else to occupy our minds and our thoughts. We need to push back the culture, the marketing, our self-talk, what everybody else tells us we need to look like at a certain age, how we need to behave, how to get to where we want to be. So we need to have that repeated to us over and over and over again. I'm really in a funk right now about this very thing, which I posted to put in our polo group, because it's hard and it takes a long time to fix what's screwed up. And we don't want to wait a long time. The world tells us we don't have to. So we need to be reminded constantly.
Michelle goes, I'm going to have to catch the replay. You all sound like robots. I'm not catching full sentences. Sorry, Michelle. We'll have to catch you on the replay. But Carrie, I know exactly what you mean. And like, I don't know if I've ever told you guys, but I did like years and years of like very restrictive dieting, like 1,200 calories, 2 hours of workouts a day, 6-7 days a week, cardio multiple times. I was trying to be like in a bodybuilding competition. And I think the hard part about it is that it was like I kind of did it to myself. So that was like a hard thing for me to like internalize. And I'm like, damn, if I wouldn't have done all that restrictive shit for so long, that like my body would be in a different spot. And because I had years and years prior to that of crappy doing, all the fad diets too, it took my body a while to respond because it was in such a like fatigued spot. I mean, I felt like a walking zombie. I was very grouchy. I was miserable, not enjoying life, like all of these like crappy things. And I'm like, well, geez, I like did this to myself. But I am grateful for that because it helped me realize so many things and learn so many things, kind of got me on the path of being a coach. But the process of going through the reverse and fueling your body and fueling your muscle, really creating that like lit fire, is not always like the fun, like sexy thing to talk about because it's freaking boring. It's okay. Well, you're telling us to eat more food, strength train, do the boring work. But I will say, from someone who's done the boring work for a long, long time, focused on strength training, like Christy said, focus on walking, focus on whole foods, really fueling my body, that when I do decide to like go on a cut, it's so cool to be able to cut on like, and this is for me personally, but like 2,000 calories. I'm like, I can still eat a lot. Like I'm feeling good. I'm seeing some changes. And with just being that like 90-95% consistent, it comes off so much easier. So I know sometimes that like the reverse, or eating more bodies. That's weird. Eating more food to fuel your body um, is tough, but it's part of the process. Unfortunately, that like can't be skipped, but it's worth it. It's just hard to sit there because you're kind of doing these things, and like you might not be seeing all of like the physical stuff that you want to see, but internally it's doing things on the inside that will eventually help you on the outside. And I know that was the hardest thing for me to kind of deal with, because I'm like, I've been so damn consistent for, you know, this long, and it took me a long time. Not everybody takes that long, but I had a lot of like, I was like one of the ones that was the I forget what Christy said, like the anomaly, where like I had internal things that were going on that were also not good, that I had to focus on healing. So I spent a lot of time in like a recovery season, focusing on fueling my body, fixing my hormones, fixing my gut health, because I trashed it. But again, I wouldn't trade it, because now I've learned so much from it that it's still hard. And it was like a lot of time of being uncomfortable, not being where I want to be, but still focusing on that consistency piece. But I will say that it's worth the effort for like the long-term success. Where my weight probably and I know I'm like talking about myself a lot, but like weight has been the same for probably like 2 years. But if I showed you guys progress pictures, I don't look the same at all. But that's because of strength training and fueling my body. And like, I'm able to lose body fat, but I've also built a lot of muscle over the years. So my body just looks different at this size. But strength training is, you know, that's the cool thing about it. And like Chrissy said, it's resistance training. So not everybody's starting at the same spot. And to continue to see changes and to continue to be able to challenge yourself, it is good to track it. It's good to pay attention. Like Marlena knows, I'll program like reps in reserve, which is what she was talking about when she was talking about like if you're doing, you know, a squat and you're like, I can do 10. And on that like 10th rep, it's like really hard. And then you stop. You might have 1 or 2 left, but you stop short. That's how you're going to continue to build muscle. Is, are you adding weight? Are you adding reps? Are you slowing down the reps that you're doing and making them more challenging? So that's definitely something like, you know, our bodies adapt to very little calories. Our bodies also adapt to the other, you know, signals we're sending it. So if you're lifting the same, you know, 15 pounds or 10 pounds for years and years on end, you're not going to see the change you want, because your body's like, oh, this is easy now. I can do this. And it doesn't take much effort. But the more muscle you build, the more strength training you do, the more you fuel your metabolism and light that fire. And really your body just starts partitioning and using those calories differently, because you have that muscle on your body to be able to use them more efficiently. So that's when, you know, when we're on these reverses and you're like, man, eating food, a lot of this food is hard. But when we're building muscle, your body wants that extra food. It's going to help build it. It's going to help you get stronger.
I don't know. I've been strength training for a long time, and I feel like I'm choking on it sometimes.
With the food? Too
much. Yeah, I feel like I start to gag. Like I can't eat another bite of food because it's disgusting. It's been a hard transition, and it's a lot of it's psychological. Because again, I used to be a competitive bodybuilder. So, you know, you don't stop eating all that stuff when you stop competing and when I was a bodybuilder, I did feel myself not always properly. I mean, I would eat 5 quarts of ice cream and you know, eat until your tongue is numb and then let it thaw and keep eating it because I'm addicted to ice cream. But at some point, you know, you start to reduce your activity level and your strength training because you're no longer competing, and you adjust your calorie intake and, you know, to kind of level it out. But then you just keep don't like the way you look and you just I just need a little less calories. And you know how it is, it's a slippery slope. And then the next thing you know, you've been eating 1,200 to 1,500 calories for 20 years. And now it doesn't work anymore, which is my sad story. But it is hard. That reverse you put me on has been killing me. And I mean, I've had many meltdowns in the last month. My strength training hasn't changed. I'm still challenging myself, but it is really, really hard to change those eating habits. Even if my body needs the fuel in my body, I look at that thing and look at the extra food, and sometimes it's just more than I can handle. No.
I totally get that. And
Which
it's like
not a movement call, that should be the food call, but sorry.
I feel like it's also intertwined too, that it's like, I mean, I could talk about the metabolism stuff. I love talking about this, like, and I like geek out on it, but eating more when it's been drilled into your psyche that like you need to eat less, like, and females always, like, we're the ones who get the 1,200 calorie meal plans. Like, that's been drilled into us. Even today, just because like I was in the grocery store, like looking at some of these different things, I'm like, it's shoved down our throats in marketing, on social media, from diet companies. I mean, like, it's everything that we've ever been taught. So it's literally going against the grain of what you've been told to do your whole life. And I will say one of the strategies that, like, if you are, you know, someone who did have those lower calories, like in your metabolism review, you're like, okay, we got to eat more. Usually one of the first things that I do, if like someone is not used to eating as much, is try to start with like liquid calories, because one, it's not the process of chewing, so then it takes part of the digestion process down, but it's a little bit easier to like drink them. So like adding in a protein shake, which I know you already like utilize, but that's one easy place to start, because it doesn't feel like it's like as filling or as taxing on your stomach, because part of the digestion process has already happened.
Yeah, maybe it is chewing. All those vegetables, you have to chew a lot. You're like, I'm tired, really sick of chewing, right? Arlene, are you taking notes? I can never do the food call because it's on Wednesday nights and I have other obligations. But
hey, me and Marlene,
there's just too much chewing involved.
I will say I do my Fitme inspired protein shake normally. Like I utilize probably a Fitme inspired shake very frequently, just because I am a sweet tooth gal. Like, I like my sweet tooth, and that helps me get there. But usually what I'll do is I'll take spinach and I'll blend it into ice cubes. And then or blend it, then put it in like an ice cube tray and freeze it. And then when I need my veggie for my like Fitme inspired shake, I'll throw like 1 or 2 cubes in there, because I like a thick protein shake. Like, drinking a straight protein shake, I'm like, that's not really my style. I like a shake. Like, I want it thick. I want to feel like I'm drinking something good. So then I'll usually add like berries into it, like berries and bananas for my fruit. And then for my fat, I'll usually do either like an avocado, frozen avocado, or like nut butter. And frozen avocado makes them very creamy, if you like your creamy protein shake or smoothie. But that's my tip. If you're struggling to eat more, that's usually where I like to start, is something like liquid, so it's a little bit easier to digest.
So back to movement. Oh gosh, I had a question. I just totally, okay. Let's talk about walking. And this might be a dumb question, but I tend to overanalyze things. So if I don't ask the question, I'm going to stew on it. Walking. this time of year, it's dark when I get to work and it's already dark when I go home. I will walk in my cul-de-sac tonight because it's fairly contained and fairly safe, even though it's in the dark, but there are times when it's just too stormy to walk. Is there any difference? You know, like Terry's walking inside right now. Is there any difference walking inside and outside that we need to, that's maybe a dumb question, but you know, if I'm going to walk on a treadmill or as opposed to walking on the sidewalk?
I think like for the purpose of movement, no difference. I think it's more like personal preference. Like me, I'd rather walk outside in the rain than walk on a treadmill, just because I get bored staring at the same thing. Like I need that change of scenery. I think like if I'm thinking like overall health and the nerd in me, like getting out in the sunlight first thing in the morning, like that helps set your circadian rhythm. That can help you produce more melatonin at night. So like there's some benefits of getting outside, getting sunlight, getting fresh air. But I think in terms of like movements, like in accomplishing your steps, that either or, whatever your personal preference is or what you have to do based off the weather.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
because right now it's super dark here, and because of the hurricane, there's not a lot of street lights.
Oh.
For some reason, the street lights. We were downtown Fort Myers because we ate, and there's not a street light, so you have to watch for the people walking across the street because you don't see them.
Scary.
I mean, yeah, very. So I'm walking around my house.
Yeah, dark doesn't bother me, and a little bit of rain doesn't bother me, but the gale force winds will make it really difficult to walk.
Yeah, and there's another hurricane coming, or at least tropical storm on Wednesday. So,
yay!
Well, be safe.
Yay.
I know all of you guys. Carrie? You guys had a windstorm out there, and everybody lost power.
Everybody lost power, and there's another one coming tonight. Yay!
Oh God!
Well,
Just got our power back.
Yeah, was that on Saturday or Sunday? You guys got that? Because we
Friday
had
night. Yeah, I actually came home from a conference, and it hit like I was asleep, and it woke me. It sounded like a tornado was hitting the house. The wind was so loud. It's never been that windy here before, and I've lived here.
we had the same. Oh wow, we had the same wind, but we didn't lose power. So, and that was in Illinois. So
yeah, we get windy enough that it would be like a tropical storm wind level, or maybe a category 1 hurricane gust level, but it's not sustained winds usually. So, and it's very, very cold. Very cold.
So when I get home, the plan is to get a treadmill so I can walk inside, so we can move our furniture back too, because once the furniture gets back downstairs, I don't have a big open plan to walk. So, but I put on like a HGTV show, one that you don't really have to hear, and just watch that or listen to Coffee Talks or the food call or Christy's call.
You can see my treadmill behind me. It faces the TV, so I can watch TV and walk on it.
Yeah.
And I'd say the only difference between walking inside and walking outside, like Terry's walking, is speed. If you have a big enough space, you can go faster. But if it's small, you're walking at a slower rate. I think that's the only difference between walking inside and walking outside.
And you're turning and you don't want to hit furniture.
Yeah, you don't want to be full of bruises.
No.
I will say I did get like a cheapo treadmill from Amazon. I think I was like, what is the cheapest one possible? I don't care how fast. I don't really care like incline or anything. I'm like, I just want something to be able to get steps in because I'm not running on the treadmill. But I think it was like between I want to say maybe $300 and $400. which I'm like, I mean, it's literally very basic. Like all it does is it goes, you know, it doesn't really
does it have a cup?
elevate it.
Does it have a cup holder?
No cup holder. You have to carry your own cup.
Nope. It's
Wonder if you
like
can-
bare bones, like the most minimal thing. I think the only thing it has is like a little like divot so you can put like a phone or a tablet in it if you needed to. So
Okay,
it does have
I could
that,
handle
but-
that.
If
Yeah.
I had to do it again, I would buy one that would slide underneath my bed so that it wouldn't be sitting in my dining room.
That's
So-
awesome.
They are
Yep.
pretty bulky.
That is
There's
what
a bike
I
back
also
there
did,
too.
Julie.
There's a bike back there too.
You need a high platform bed so you could slide underneath.
Yeah.
That's why I got that one from
of
Amazon,
those.
because it folded up and could be like shoved in a corner somewhere. Because it's like it's very minimal, like size wise, and then you just to put it together, it's just like one or two little like screw things to like do the the top part and like where you can press the speed, and very like low profile. So we have it sitting out in the garage where like if I needed to get it, I could just like pull it out, set it up, and then I could put it back after I'm done. Because I do agree, even that small one takes up a lot of space.
We have basements in Illinois, so and it's just my husband and I. So one section of the basement will have my treadmill, my rowing machine, and I'm going to set up my bike. And so I have a bike trainer. I'm going to put my bike on it, and I have options
That's nice for variety.
because I need options so I don't get bored.
I
So,
get bored easily too, but I have I can listen to my music. I can listen to a podcast. So it keeps me occupied. The only thing that doesn't bore me is strength training because it's so stinking hard. I don't have time to be bored. I'm just sitting there hoping that I survive 9 reps.
keep breathing.
And then it makes me do another set. I moved into a more advanced workout this morning, which I'll probably be really sorry about tomorrow because the push-ups are horrible. Push-ups, more push-ups, and more triceps.
Oh, Marlena loves push-ups and sit-ups. And what other ups are there?
I
Lena
love
the ups.
chest presses and squats and deadlifts because that's where my strength is. I don't like the other stuff. So, but I do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I do whatever Tori programs for me.
And I mean,
And
those
also
are, it's all,
I was really behind on my water, but during our talk, I've been able to really suck down a bunch of water. So I'm ahead of schedule now. So thanks.
see, the call was just meant to be a hodgepodge today of a mix of everything.
It worked. It worked.
It did. I mean, I felt I might have went down a rabbit hole a little bit, but I feel like it's good conversation to like dive into and like elaborate more, because I feel like that's like part of the reason why there's so much confusion out there of like how to do things, is because one, we don't ask where like people are at. Like everybody's in a different spot, where they started, where they're going, how long they've been doing things for. So like one thing that might work for someone might not work for someone else because of where they're starting at. Like me, I don't have a problem eating. My problem's overeating. I can eat 2,600 calories, no problem, because I love food. I can eat a lot, but I'm also strength training a bit. So it's like, all right, I'm like, but other people who could be, where they're under eating or maybe not eating enough, where it's like struggling to eat more, like the one size fit all thing is not gonna work. So that's why like we have the metabolism conversation, so that like you feel empowered and informed to understand like one, how your body works and how you can continue on this like process of fueling your body if you need to, revving that metabolism, and telling and sending your body the signals it needs so that you can get the result that you want. And I think that's the really cool thing. I don't know, you guys might learn that I like love to nerd out on this stuff. So if anybody ever has any like nerdy questions, I know Julie and I nerd out on this stuff together. You can always ask me. I'm more than happy to get super sciencey and stuff. I feel like that's probably one of the things I love to do most, because you know, I'm like, I remember when I first started, I'm like, why are these things not working? I want to understand why. And then I would like dive into, and then I'm like, all right, I want to learn how to do this to be able to help people so they don't have to go through, years and years and years of crap that I did trying to figure it out. Through a lot of trial.
No, I'm passing a lot of this information on to my older daughter. Because she goes to Orange Theory, so she's running a lot. And I'm like, you need more weights. You need more weights. You need more weights. And she's finally listening. So she's going 1 day a week. I'm hoping I can turn it into 3. So
I love that.
Yeah.
My doctor told me, my naturopath told me about 6 months ago. And again, these are things that I know, but we have to be reminded because the culture just battles against what we know. She told me to stop doing so much cardio and do strength training at least 3 days a week. She told me to stop doing cardio completely because, after at my age, you start experiencing muscle loss, and cardio actually contributes to that if you're not doing weight bearing exercise, and especially the dieting. So the two of them are just a death knell to your muscular health.
Yeah. It's definitely a different energy pathway that is like used. So when you're strength training, it's using different like energy pathways to be able to execute, because you figure you're doing Carrie, kind of like short, sweet bouts of energy versus potentially like long distance running. And cardio is something that your body like adapts to very quickly. So like me, you guys know I'm not a runner, but I have some conditioning in my program where it's like only ever like a 400 or 800 meter run at a time. And I will say in a very short span of time, I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't as bad. But yeah, it's kind of like, okay, if you're a runner, then like practicing running to improve your runs and have a certain run score, time, distance, whatever, like that's kind of your focus. Where it's like if you're strength training, like it's a different focus on the body. So exactly as you said. But yeah, definitely, because again, running like muscle takes up a lot of energy. And it's like, all right, well, this is expensive tissue that we don't necessarily need this energy for. We don't need the muscle mass to like run long distances. So
I'll have to pass that information on to her too, because the only thing running has done for her is strengthen her lungs, because she has asthma. So since she started at Orange Theory and she's running all the time, she hasn't had nearly as many asthma attacks. So I don't want her to stop running, but I definitely need her to do more strength training.
Yeah.
I think it's a good mix, like a mix of both. And it has to go back to like, what is the like physical, I guess, goal that like you're looking for, and I think for her cardiovascular health, like you said, Julie, like running for sure, not bad at all. But, if her goal is to like fuel her body, her metabolism, I think she's the one that you said you're trying to get to eat more, right?
No, that's the other daughter. And that's going to be a long road.
The long haul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're working on staying gluten-free right now. That's our goal at this moment. She has celiac, so she needs to stay gluten-free. So.
Okay. Well, if you ever need any help with that, let me know. I got you. do you guys have any questions, anything you want me to like, even like next call to bring up when it comes to like metabolism and movement, anything specific, or just any topics that we want to cover in the future?
Oh no, you're the expert. I mean, things come up in real time. So it's,
Yeah.
you know, you think about, oh, I know I have a list of things I want to talk about. No, it's like, it comes up like, oh crap, I'm not understanding this, or, well, this is kind of where maybe we need to talk about that. And then, you know, it just comes up during your experiences, for me anyway.
Well, you guys can always Marco Polo me
Well,
too if you have that stuff come up.
Certainly.
Yeah,
What were
I
you gonna
actually
say,
think
Terry?
I'm
I feel like I interrupted someone.
Mm-mm.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think I'm almost ready to transition out of Tori exercises into something else. So I need to talk to Tori about that. But
All right.
Good luck.
Congratulations.
Good luck.
Well, speaking of Tori, okay, wait, let me look at the calendar. Next Monday, I was wrong. I thought this Monday, I couldn't get what Monday of the month it was, but next Monday she will be on this call. So if you have any like Tori questions, anything specific, I know last time we really dove into like footwear and things like that. And I'm excited because I'm going to have Tori take me through a movement assessment, which I'm really pumped about. So I can learn how her brain works too. So that'll be fun. But yeah, if you guys have anything you want to like talk about or have her cover, just come to the call next week with that ready. Or if you think of things, Marco Polo me and I'll pass the message on.
Okay,
Okay, cool.
can do.
sounds good.
All right. Well, then I will talk to all you ladies later.
All right. Thanks, Miss Tabby.
You are
Bye.
welcome. Bye.
Bye.